everybody, and welcome back to the Hilltop Pillbox here in Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada. And we did our War at Sea a few days ago, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get out my Axis and Allies minis and see what they look like. I haven't had them out for a couple of years, actually. Just taking them out and spread them out on a table to see what they look like. They haven't changed a lot, obviously, and I keep them in... I use fishing tackle boxes typically. They seem to be a very good way to keep these things. And yeah, a little bit of foam here and there to keep them from bouncing around too much. But for the most part, they're in excellent shape. And this is I got three... oh, where'd the third one go? Oh, there it is. Here's the Germans. Ugh. Yeah, so the Germans and Japanese. And the Italians and some of the other minor Axis. I put them in the Roots binder because the root of the war. You could argue against that, but I think it was pretty much the Axis who started things. So here's Japan, and I really like some of the Japanese units are my favorite. These snipers are great, just lurking in the tall grass there. And of course you got your guys that are going to do the whole bonsai charge thing. Not known for their... armor, so not a ton of different armored units. Lots of scout cars. These are fun to have when you have a non-armor heavy game. They move quickly and enough armor to keep the infantry busy unless you get some guys with some Piats or something coming after them, and then it's a problem. And then a few zeros, and there's a few of these little resin sticks have snapped off either inside the body of the plane or they've just snapped, and so some of the planes are on the ground right now. So if I ever want to field a full thing, I'm going to have to repair those, unfortunately. But the planes themselves are in great order, and again, really good detail on these sculpts, right? Really good detail. All right. And same with the armor. Really like the paint job on these things, and I know it's all factory done, but you know what? For a factory paint, I think it's pretty good. So this is my Japanese army here, and I think there's like 140 units or something there. We've got the Americans. This is my largest group. Got about 271 units, I believe. And we got the little, the small mortars down here, and we got some anti-aircraft stuff going on. Now we got we got lots of stuff. All the different units. Now, if you've never played this game, units are basically, there's two different types of units. You either have vehicle or infantry class, and then of course the aircraft, which is a completely different thing. They added that actually a little bit into the initial release, if I remember correctly. And the big problem that they ran into, though, was that they changed scale. And I can't remember exactly the scale, but it went up, right? So all of a sudden, the models got a lot bigger. So you can see, you've got your half tracks here, and then you have much smaller, when in fact those ones there were just as big, if not bigger, but they're a lot smaller than these ones here. Even the Jeeps are a little different with the forward observer Jeeps. And yeah, that was a little, that turned a lot of people away that was after the first set one, and then they made everything bigger because people, I guess, wanted bigger units. So now you mostly notice that in the German, for me anyway, in the German stuff. Now these are my German units here, and lots of them, lots of good stuff. It's probably my favorite tank in the game for the cost of it. All right, that's a Panzer IV. They got the skirts on the side there, but I got 11 of those bad boys, and they're kind of cheap. I think they're 30 points, if I remember correctly, maybe 35. But not too bad, and they've got decent armor, and they can kick out that offensive power pretty nicely. Then you got your speedy units zipping around the map, go really quickly, and you got your Pumas. These are fun too. They don't have much for armor. I think it's 2 and 2, front and back, but they punch hard. and they can zip behind trees, so it's kind of cool. Of course, you got your 88s. I got 3 of those. They don't move though, so you set them up and they just sit there. So you can go and take them out. You can get close enough with engineers or something, because they're not very good anti-personnel, but they are very good anti-armor, as everybody found out. You got your whirlwind here, anti-air. That's always fun. Get your tank destroyers and all the rest, and a few aircraft. I think I've got 4 for each major nation. Oddly enough, I got 5 for the Americans. But yeah, there's lots of fun stuff to be had here, and the Germans just have such a wide variety. That's kind of their problem, right? So many different armored chassis and parts and tanks and all the rest. And the scale model problem, as I was saying, is seen most definitely here. So right here, you've got your King Tiger, and you can see that beside it is a whirlwind. It's like, yeah, I don't think so. And yeah, just much bigger sculpts all around than your King Tigers. So that was unfortunate. Lots of fun stuff. These Goliaths are neat. And you got motorcycles. Of course, you got your artillery and Nebelwerfer. You got your Nebelwerfer there. They're kind of fun. And then you got snipers, little wall there. I've always liked those ones. I thought they looked pretty cool. And you got the machine guns, sandbag machine guns. So they got good defense, but they can't move. And here you got the same firepower, but they can move, but they have less defense. Over here we got our Soviets, and lots of a good mix for the Soviets, but not a ton of artillery with the Soviets. I don't have a ton of artillery. Basically have their one artillery sculpt, and that is it, really. Got some machine guns here, some anti-tank rifles, snipers, right? Some mortars. But you can't go far in a Russian war or a Soviet war without your commissars. Those guys, they're pretty cool. I actually use these guys all the time because you get this cheap infantry right here. And the commissars can actually shoot one of the guys beside him or in his zone, and it inspires all the other ones to attack better that round. I mean, it's not like they're indestructible or anything, but you sacrifice one infantry, and the other 8 that you have around you all fire with some extra dice. So it's pretty cool. And then over here, the Brits, and a decent collection with the Brits. These guys here are very, some people say OP, but it's the Royal Engineers, and they get to attack armored vehicles that they get next to with 10 dice. And so can really bring the hurt, because I think the toughest armor is a 7 or an 8. And so, yeah, it's possible for them to blow up a Tiger 2 if they wanted to, or like an IS-3 if you've switched sides. Again, some fast movers here. They got some tank destroyers. These are my favorite armored units for the British, the Churchill Crocodiles. I actually got to see one of those when I was in France. They had one sitting outside, I think the Bayeux Museum. So that's pretty cool. You got your 17 pounders. You got the Bofors here. The D-Day tanks, those are fun. And good for amphibious assaults and crossing rivers and whatnot. Got some Gloucester Meteors, a Spitfire, and a Hurricane coming in with as a dive bomber, and it has rockets on it, so lots of fun stuff. Yeah, lots of personnel carriers as well. Personnel carriers are very much maligned in this game because they got horrible armor, 2 and 2 I think for the most part, but some of them will move up to 5 on a road, and that can just keep you, if there's enough trees or buildings around or hills, you can zip around the map and cause 10 kinds of grief. So, and all of them have a hero of some kind. And I'm very biased, but in my mind, the best one is the Canadian hero, and I'll show you that in just a second. So some of the minor countries we have here, we've got nationalist China. Lots of machine guns, lots of infantry to run them in there. We got Polish infantry, we got one Belgian. Got some Romanians here. Oh, they got messed around. I'm not sure how that happened, but alright, get back in the war there, Romania. Down here we got Hungary, of course. Slovakia, didn't have a flag for that when I printed these out years ago when I had a color printer. That was years ago, like 15, 16 years ago. I just black and white now. If I need something really printed out in color, I just go to Staples. And down here, of course, we have Viva l'Italia. Alright, here are some odds and ends. I believe it's South African infantry, and then we've got some others here. I actually don't know what they are. I've got a little tag that said variety, and I don't know what they are. I'll have to look them up. They don't have names on the bottom, they just have numbers, and so I just got to look at the thing and find out what they are. But these are kind of fun. You got a minefield here. Nice little mines, stay out. Achtung. And you got your hedgehogs, your tank traps, barbed wire, very handy stuff. And this pillbox. These here, I actually have been trying to buy some of these, and they're getting stupid expensive. They came out in a later print, but they're very fun to try to assault. And I mean that because it's a board game, not because it's real life. That was horrible. But yeah, they're great little sculpts. I only got one of them. Here we have a headquarters that you put on either end of the map if you want, and you got to go get the other guy's headquarters. We got a fuel depot, and of course the ammunition dump. So lots of fun stuff there. France had some of this armor here, and infantry. We got some partisans, the French resistance, as it were, and French leaders. A French hero guy there, and there you go. These guys here lobbing their grenades over walls. And of course, Canadians got to have some Canadians in it, and so we got the Ram APC, and we got some D-Day tanks here, and I guess that's a Stuart. I haven't looked at these things forever. That doesn't tell me what it is. I'll look it up in just a second. And just some small anti-tank guns, the Canadian infantry, and these here are the Canadian heroes. I think they're called Intrepid Heroes, I think, and then we got the NCOs here. Canada actually obviously used the British style of training, and so our NCOs actually had quite an effect on the war. I know some nations kind of frowned at NCOs, but they worked pretty well for Canada. And the British style, they actually had some pretty good NCOs. So I'm just going to show you the stats on these guys here and how they work. And it's a rifle I have. Alright, use the Americans. Oh, you know what? I think it's in the next one down. There we go. Boy, these things are heavy. Alright. You know, if I could monetize my YouTube channel, I could get staff, and then you wouldn't have to watch this. Alright, here we go. Alright, there we go. Yeah, so the Intrepid Heroes, and it costs a little bit more. Essentially, you're going to be rolling dice and trying to get hits on people. 4, 5, 6 is a hit. So that's how many units I have of all kinds. So didn't think I had over 1,000, but I guess yeah, the Axis is yeah, that makes sense because I got more allies than I have Axis. So but if you look here, you can see that the Canadian Infantrymen, and this is most infantry, if you're within 1 hex or the same hex, because you can share a hex with an enemy, you'd roll 8 dice, and if they're 2 to 4 hexes away, you roll 6 dice, and you know, just try to kill him. Now you see the defense he's got is 4. So if somebody is throwing 8 dice against him, if they get some hits on him there, that'll pin him, damage him, and you can actually destroy him if you roll really well. Okay, and you can see it's got something called Close Assault 6. So if there's a vehicle there, you can run in there. And yeah, a lot of fun. Light Nco costs a little bit more. Instead of 3, he's 7, but he's got Close Assault 7, and he's got Initiative and improved accuracy. And you can see here that in World War II, a Canadian corporal actually wielded as much authority as a U.S. Army sergeant. And they had the same number of men under their command. So that's for 7 points. And then the Intrepid Hero here, he's only 8 points. Shoots at 8.62. He's got a defense of 5.5 though. And the Canadian Hero, he gets to be placed anywhere that Canadian soldier is. So you can wait a few rounds, move up a tank, move up an armored personnel carrier, and then just plop him down. And gets to make 2 attacks. It's got hand-to-hand 9. So if it gets into a actual hex with an enemy soldier, that 8 goes to a 9. So that's pretty cool. Another great resource I found years ago. Okay, this is that resource I was telling you about. It was just underneath one of my boxes. It's a great book, and it basically spells out all of the different units and whether or not you should use them. So it gives it a rating. And this is all, of course, based on math and how many dice you can roll, at what range, how often, and all the rest. And up in the corner you can see I've put how many I have of each. So I got 1 Renault, I got 4 Red Devil Captains for the Americans. Right? So some of them do not get very good ratings. The Nashorn, basically because the defense is so bad. Right? The tank that's, maximum range will take it out with 1 shot. And then others get nice 5 out of 5. And sometimes it has to do with the cost versus what it can do, right? So we look at the L335. This is the light Italian tank. I like how it gives you a scale, and it tells you how big this thing is. So that's that one, and then the KV1, right? You can just see. And the rating on the Italian tank is a 1. Costs 9, right? And you're thinking, well, it's only 9 points, right? But you don't get much. It says you do get double shot. And you can go through hills, which is kind of nice, but unfortunately it's just not worth it for the 9 points for what it does. Whereas the KV1, it's got a 5 out of 5 rating. Alright, it's got good armor, 6 and 6, got a speed of 3, so you can fly really good, and you're chucking mittfuls of dice for 32 points. That's pretty good. See here. Yeah, so here's the Intrepid Hero for Canada, and I got 3 of them, and as you can see, it's got a rating of 5 out of 5. This Canadian Hero is a powerhouse, which is pretty cool. And then you get the Inspiring Lieutenant, because it's UK, you got to say the the invisible F, but he's 10 points, right? So his rating, although he can do some pretty good things, his rating's a little lower because he costs you a bit more. So yeah, this book was great when I look around to see is it worth buying, because some people will just buy because I just want a complete set, I want to have everything, and other people say no, I'm only going to buy good units, right? I'm only going to buy good stuff. But sometimes you end up with things that are just garbage that you can't really use too much. I talked about the armored car, right? Yeah, basically because you can pretty much chuck rocks through the side if you have to. It's not very good. It can move pretty quickly, and you can also do what's called strike and fade, and that is huge because in your assault phase you move and then you assault. So in the assault phase it can move at a speed 1 after attacking, so you can be you can be out in the open and then move 1 after attacking and go behind the trees so the tanks can't shoot back at you. So that's what makes that one fun. I like that strike and fade, and so when I saw some for sale I picked up a few more. It says I got 6 here, but as you can see over here, I've got 11 now. So, got to update my book. I haven't written in here in probably 15 years, 12 years. Anyway, there you go. That's that book. I bought the early edition, and then this one came out because they had another North African set come out. And so since I bought a few of those, I thought, boy, I better get it. So I recommend you picking it up if you are going to get into this. It's a good book. No, I don't get kickbacks. And it was made in 2008. So there you go. All right. Well, I'm not sure if I'm going to get a chance to do a game of this, but maybe I can set something up and start blasting and have some fun. But this is like War at Sea. This is much better with two people. So, but we'll see if I can set something up. Maybe we can charge a pillbox or something with my brave Canadians. All right. Thanks so much for watching, folks. And hey, maybe there'll be a video on the end of this. If not, have yourselves a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon. And I don't have any dice to point this thing at, so I'll just say, I'll get some dice. May the dice be with you. All right, here we go. We're going to have just a little bit of urban warfare going on. And what we have is a small German squad with some armor. And they've got 80 points here. And the Canadians, I believe, have 82. All right. But some of the Canadians, 7 of their points is tied up in an anti-tank gun, which in a city is pretty easy to avoid. So that's why the Canadians have a couple extra points. And this is who the Germans have. They've got 4 riflemen. They've got a Hamsterführer, who's good at essentially getting rid of disrupted counters adjacent to him. So you keep him, he's in the back here, and you keep him close to your infantry, and when they get hit but not destroyed, he can just make it like they didn't even get hit. So pretty tough guy there. The Oberleutnant, he's got Angriff, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Essentially, he can get friendly soldiers adjacent to him, can get another move. Typically you move and then fight, but he's going to let them move and then move and fight again, or move again and then fight. So that's pretty good. So the Germans have some pretty good stuff here. A couple of tanks, an elite Panzer IV, and it gets +1 on each shot. So instead of 4, 5s, and 6s, it's 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6s will get hits for him. Not great defense though, just 3 and 3, but it's 18 points. So kind of nice balance. I really like this, and the book likes it too. And then of course my favorite German tank, which is the Panzer IV, and although it has extended range, likely not going to come into play too much in this urban map, but it's got decent defense at 5 and 3, and throws mitfuls of dice. All right, and then over for the Canadians, we've got 4 Canadian infantrymen. We've got the entrenched anti-tank gun, as you can see there. Low defense, 3 and 3. It's less than infantry, but it's a 4 and 4 until I move it, so it's likely not going to get moved. We got the eagle-eyed NCO, and friendly soldiers can actually shoot a little further. You can see that infantry can only shoot to 4 hexes. With this guy beside it, they can shoot to 6. Now, they're only shooting 6 dice, and trying to hit infantry is usually a 4 out of 4 on defense. So it's, might get lucky. The Intrepid Hero, though, I had to bring this guy in, and we'll see what he does. Gets to make a couple extra attacks, which is nice. Once it gets into the mix, right? Once it gets in there. This is kind of the tip of the hat to some of those great Canadian soldiers. Every country had great soldiers, of course, but this is one that I think probably has something to do with Leo Major. Yeah, just a tough hombre. If you don't know anything about Leo Major, check him out. Good stuff. Maybe I'll link something in the description if I remember. And then a couple of Sherman DD tanks, you can see with the skirts and everything coming in. Now, the goal is going to be to destroy the enemy's headquarters. So here's the Canadian headquarters down in this corner of this building over here. The German headquarters is in the opposite corner. The map is not an exact copy from one half to the other. There's a little bit of variety in how the buildings are placed. They do block line of sight, of course. And I'm not going with the destroyed markers for buildings. I do have them, but I thought I'm just going to keep this like this. But you can get a little bit of an upgrade thing where you can blast away at a building, and when you knock it down, you put a kind of a rubble hex on, and then infantry get better defense, and tanks and whatnot can't hit them as easily, right? It's harder to get in and around as well with the rubble laying everywhere. So, all right, so we'll see how the first round goes. It's supposed to be a 7-round game, but we're just going to play it until one of these falls. Will the Canadians hold on? Will the Germans be too tough to crack? It'll all depend on the armor, in my estimation, because these infantry, boy, they're in tough. I didn't bring any machine guns or mortars, because I think in this type of a setting, those mortars are just going to be a little OP. So, all right, here we go. Let's have some fun. Go Canada! All right, the first round is done, and obviously nothing's within range, but I'll just show you what's happened here. We've moved up the Shermans, and they have a bit of a firing angle, but of course everything still has cover now, except for these guys. They run out into the middle of the street, but they're well out of range of the infantry. So we're going to try to make a dash over to these buildings here. We're going to keep these guys back to try to hold the line a little bit. They have close assault 6 on armor, so if they can get in, yeah, they might be able to do some damage. So we're going to keep them back a little ways. The Germans have pushed out a little bit more, being a little bit more aggressive with their infantry. They still, of course, way out of range, and setting up some defense in the forward buildings. All right, round 2. I don't know if anything's going to get shot at in round 2 either, but we'll see. All right, hey, look at that. Our first disrupted counter has been placed on the German infantry from this Canadian who's been pushed up by the NCO to a range of 6, and one of them missed, and one of them, sorry, bad camera work, one of them missed, one of them got a hit and disrupted that young man there. But unfortunately, right at the beginning of this next movement phase, because of the Hamsterführer being here, this is going to go away, but I'll leave it on there for now. So basically a meaningless hit. So we've got to kind of get rid of this guy, the Hamsterführer, if we can, because he's pretty good. He's disrupted markers affect how well you shoot, and you can't move, right? So, and your armor, your defense as well. So it's so funny. I play a lot of different mini games, and there's armor, there's defense. There's all sorts of different words that basically mean the same thing. And yeah, we'll try to slug through without messing up the vocabulary. All right, here comes the next round. I think we're going to have some tanks blasting away at each other, and maybe the anti-tank gun will even get a shot in. We'll let you know. Well, quite a bit of mayhem here. We had the Panzer IV. Uh-oh, he's in trouble. But he did hammer down on this D-Day tank and was just a couple of hits away from killing it outright. You just have to get double the armor and double the defense, pardon me. You'll get it. Over here, though, they ended up getting 3 hits. If you get 3 hits in the same turn, essentially, that'll wipe out a vehicle. So this vehicle is destroyed. He's going to be removed. So that's a huge loss for the Germans. A huge loss. Also, this fella's shot here missed. So that's not good for them at all. And I moved up the Oberleutnant because he is going to be able to, if he can get close assault on these vehicles, he will be able to do a close assault 11 on them. Him and his Panzerfaust. Possibly Panzerschreck, but basically he's coming in with the big gun. I moved this because, again, I haven't played this in many years, actually. And well, not many, but a number of years. And you go from dot to dot, and in many games you just look at the dot, and if you can see the dots, you're fine. But In this game, this is considered forest, right? So going from dot to dot to dot and out there, that's all clear. But because it goes through a hex that contains forest, this guy couldn't even see. Now, if you're shooting down the edge, that doesn't come into effect, but I was going right down the middle. So I had to move this entrenched anti-tank gun, so it's no longer entrenched. I'm not sure it's going to have a huge role to play, but I think this Panzer may have to, this Panzer IV might have to skedaddle, this D version. Once again, we were able to disrupt the Oberleutnant here, but the Hauptsturmführer, I never say that right, he's going to remove that at the beginning of the movement phase, so we'll just take that away now. Now this tank here cannot move. He is stuck and armor is down to 4 now. The frontal armor is a 4, and his shots now he has to get 5s and 6s to get hits. So, might be easy pickings for this guy, for the elite tank. Likely he's going to die this round, but if he can take out one of the D-Day tanks, they might have a chance here to get rid of the other D-Day using the Oberleutnant. But it'll be interesting. We might have to get these infantry on the move soon. They're not, they've actually got a couple shots in, which is nice, but we're going to have to get these guys moving a bit more. Here's the Intrepid Hero and an Infantryman. Oh, I forgot to move them in the last round. Well, snooze you lose. We'll move them next turn. All right, here we go. Next round coming up. The Germans already lost their heaviest tank, but the Sherman is badly damaged. See how it goes. All right, wow, that was a very interesting round. The Germans got initiative, so they made the Canadians go first. And if you remember, we had the tank out here, and it 1, 2, 3 got through the trees and got into these trees, because you got a roll to actually get into what's considered forest. And he got through both rolls and then put one up the tailpipe of this Sherman. So now it's not before the Sherman got shots in on him, but actually only got 5 hits on how many dice? 13 dice. And this one here got 2 hits. Can you believe that? 2 hits. Now it had to get 5s and 6s, and that was on 11 dice, but only got 2 hits. All of them were like 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s. So got 2 hits here. So this is what's going to happen is this Sherman is now gone. Get rid of the destroyed. And now what we essentially have are a couple of tanks that are both damaged. But now at the end of this round, the disrupted marker is going to come off. Okay, so the Canadian tank no longer is stuck there. This guy is stuck here. He can't move. Now, fortunately for him, there is a tree in the way, so the anti-tank gun can't shoot, but it's likely this tank will finish him off. Well, we said that last time, I guess, but who knows? Might not work. But this tank definitely has to move because we've got the Oberleutnant here coming across to cause some grief, and the Germans are just starting to sneak out here. The Canadians were unsuccessful at getting any hits on the Germans this round. All right, so here we go. Moving forward, we'll see if this little elite tank will survive this round, or will it deal out some death to the Canadian Sherman. Here it comes. Well, that was a rough round for the Germans. We'll start over here with the tanks. Of course, the tank couldn't move, so the D-Day tank swung around, shot him in the butt, and absolutely destroyed him with that. But he did get a shot off and did get, I think, 7 hits on him, and his armor now on the front is 4, so not quite enough to kill it. But that is the only other armor for the Germans, so it's not looking too good for them. But it ain't over yet, because remember, it's not about killing things, it's about getting to the headquarters. Now, this guy here is going to be disrupted. And here we go. Now, here's the Oberleutnant, or the Hauptsturmführer, and he's going to remove those disrupted counters at the start of the movement phase. So I just like taking them off when I got them here. But they send in one of the German infantry using the Angriff from the Oberleutnant. He came in here and he did what he could. He tried to take out the Canadian hero, but he just matched his defense at 5. Even though he has a close assault, or not close assault, but he had 8 dice. But he got +1 on each of his dice. So he actually had 8 dice. He could hit on 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6s. And he only got 5 hits on those 8 dice. So pretty much on the bubble. But then the Canadian hero gave him what for, and so one of the German infantry is now dead, but the Canadian hero is now disrupted. And that is where we stand right now. So the German infantry are pushing this way. The D-Day tank cannot move this turn. So the Germans may have to actually retreat a little bit and protect the headquarters, because next turn this fellow can move, and in 3 turns he'll take out the headquarters, likely. Maybe even 2 if he can get into range. So we'll have to see what the Germans can do, because they can't get over here. This is going to take them about 7 or 8 turns to get over to that headquarters now. Well, how often does this happen? I think it happens a fair bit, actually, where the dice just go ice cold at the wrong moment. So what happened here was the Canadians, they had the initiative. Well, they didn't have the initiative. Germans won, actually, so they forced the Canadians to move. And I thought, well, we'll bring these guys out. We'll put some real pressure on these infantry here. And we moved out the tank, anti-tank gun. Not that it has anything to shoot at right now. It's got very poor infantry attacks. And the tank couldn't move. So then, well, we'll just move these guys out here. So then these 2 Mauser Kar 98s decided to take a shot at here. And yeah, they killed the Eagle-Eyed NCO. He's got a defense of 4. They got 6 hits on him. 1 shot. Bang. Gone. So the Eagle-Eyed NCO is gone. And that's important, because now these guys have the same range as the Germans, and the Germans are going to be sitting in buildings here in a second. So they'll have some cover. This Canadian infantryman came out and then took a shot, or tried to take a shot, but the German had retreated. Didn't retreat, sorry, he missed him, and then the German retreated. Because you move, shoot, shoot. Right? So, and if you don't shoot, you can move again. So, all right. So now we get to remove this disrupted marker. We get to remove this disrupted marker. And now we'll see if this tank, this damaged tank, can make the difference, or is it going to be getting into range here? And remember that these are considered soldiers, and the D-Day, well, it's not bad. You got 9, but more than likely 7 dice he's going to be using against the headquarters, but he's got to get around because it's on this side of the building. Can't shoot through the buildings. He's got to come around and attack it here. So, this could get interesting. We'll let you know how it goes. Stay tuned. Alright, a very interesting happening going on here, and I have a choice. I have a choice of sticking around or fighting. And I think I'm going to fight. I think I'm going to fight. Could be death for the tank, but you're going to watch it in real time. So the Canadians lost the initiative roll. The Germans actually rolled a 3, and then they had the +3 for the Hauptstafel. They add that. And then the Canadians rolled a 2, and they only have a... actually, they don't have anything to the initiative now because they lost their Eagle-Eyed NCO. So yeah, they rolled snake eyes. So I moved the tank up. Moved up the infantry. We haven't done the second in the assault phase. That's when this guy can move. And we moved the hero up 1, moved the Canadian infantry, are pushing the Germans back. The Germans retreated back towards there, but these guys decided, what the heck, we're going to come out here and close assault this tank. So in real time, you're going to see what happens. Now, the first things first, we're going to get these Canadian infantrymen to blast away at these infantry. Because if they kill the infantry dead, then the tank can move along and it won't shoot this turn. Because it can't shoot this turn, actually. Because it goes, their line of sight would go through this hex with the trees, so it can't see towards the building. So, we have 2 infantry at a range of 2. They get 6 dice each. So we're targeting one guy. Okay, so that's a lot of misses. And the other guy, that's 3 hits. Not enough. Not enough because their defense is 4. Alright, but now we have a Canadian infantry who's within 1. So he gets 8 dice. Oh, phone's ringing. Here we go. So you got 1, 2, 3. Once again, no hits. So the Canadian infantry not doing it. Not getting it done. But now we got this Canadian infantry, and this is where I could choose to move him there. But I think we got to shoot one of these guys. Okay, there we go. So we got 4 hits. So one of these infantry are going to be stuck there next round. Okay? Now we have the hero as well. And the hero would have 6 dice, but I think I want to move him up. I think we got to get him getting closer. Okay? All right. Now, the only other thing that can shoot at them is the tank itself, and the tank has a 9 dice. So we got 6, 7, 8, 9. Here we go. 9 against the one that hasn't been hit yet, and hopefully he'll get more than the defensive 4. We got 1, 2, 3. Look at all those 2s. Okay, so the Canadian tank missed. Alright, so everything that can shoot for the Canadians has shot. Now, we have a close assault 6. Close assault 6 by 2 infantry against this damaged tank. Here we go. Oh, that's not going to do anything. That's only 2 hits there. Uh-oh. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so it's not going to kill the tank, but it is actually greater, because when you go into the close assault, you use the lower number. So the first hit, it disrupts, and then the second hit is damaged again, but it's already got damage. So, actually, it's already got damaged. So I believe, yeah, I had that right. It's destroyed. Because it got another 2 hits. So when you equal the armor, that's 1 hit. When you're more than the armor, that's 2 hits. Since it already had 1 damage, it gets destroyed. It's been a long time since I played this, but there you go. So the infantry were able to do it. They actually killed this tank. And that's everything that can shoot, that has line of sight, that didn't move twice. So we are going to put the D-Day, whoops, tank there. And well, at least he's not disrupted anymore, right? All right, and then this thing here, we're going to move up to here. Is that what we want to do? Let's go here, and we got a line of sight to that building, and we'll try to blast those guys if they stick around. All right, so it's an infantry battle now. And it's hard to say who's got better odds. It will be interesting. All right, I'll let you know how it goes. Well, some very interesting happenings going on here. First, I failed to recognize that as soon as the armor was gone, this unit is pretty much useless unless it can shoot at a disrupted unit, which there was no disrupted unit except this guy here. And, yeah, anyway, he got destroyed by a close assault. Well, not a close assault, but by an attack by this fella. So, he is gone. The anti-tank gun has been dispatched. Meanwhile, this fella here took a bunch of shots from the Canadians and eventually got hit so much that he's just going to go to that great schnitzel house in the sky. We just moved these guys up here, and I was going to do the Angriff on this guy here. I decided not to because it was quite unsuccessful last time, and we'll see if that was smart or not. This German is now disrupted here, and we'll see if they're going to try to take a poke at him. He's kind of out in the open. It'd probably be good, because if not, he might be able to slip away and head down towards here before he can get caught. All right, next round coming up. Got some mouse holing going on here. All right, you asked for it again, real time. So here we go. We have the Canadians once again lost the initiative roll. I don't think we won it once, maybe once this entire game. So we're going to take a poke at this guy. He's kind of out in the open, and he's one away, so we get the 8 dice. His defense is down a bit because he's disrupted. And here we go. That would be a grand total of 1 hit. All right. And over here, there's no shots from these guys because they're blocked line of sight with the forests and the buildings, of course. And now, here we've got some real hand-to-hand combat. This is like the Canadian version of Saving Private Ryan in the battle at the bridge. So we've got the Canadian Intrepid Hero, and he gets 9 dice at close assault. 9 dice. So here we go. Whoop, that's a little too close. All right, 9 dice. Who's he going to go after? Well, I guess everybody's got a defensive 4. Let's try to get rid of that Oberleutnant. See what we can do. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that will disrupt the Oberleutnant. Now, the Intrepid Hero, after the unit moves or attacks in your assault phase, it may make an extra attack. The target must be in the same hex as this unit. So he is going to attack him again, because if he can put another hit on him, that would kill him. Here we go. Oh, that'll do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that kills him outright anyway, even if he didn't have damage on him. Okay, so the Oberleutnant is destroyed. Okay, now the Canadian Infantryman has 8 dice, and he's going to use it just against the German soldier that's in that hex with him. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that's going to disrupt the Infantryman here. Okay, so that Canadian missed out in the countryside there. So now we have the German response. Will they be able to take out this hero? Because that's what they have to do. If they don't kill the hero, this one's all over but the crying. All right, so they have 8 dice for the Germans. We'll use their nice gray dice. So here we go, the gray dice. Against the hero, they need 6 hits. Yeah, and then we're going to send the commander after him. Here we go. Okay, so they got 1, 2, 3, 4. Not enough. No dice. But now, the Hauptsturmführer, he is a soldier class. Oh, but he can't go in. He can't go in because they've already got 2 units in there. Uh-oh, that's bad news for the Germans. All right. Well, let's see what the Oberleutnant can do. He's got 6 dice. It's a Hail Mary. Here we go. Let's see if he can get hits on the hero. He needs to get... Every dice needs to hit because the Intrepid Hero has a defense of 5. So he needs 6 out of 6. He got 4, which is a really good roll. That would have disrupted the Canadian soldier, but it has no effect on the hero. Now we've got the Hauptsturmführer, and he's in the same building as they are. So he's going to roll 6 dice as well. Here we go. No. Nothing there. And the headquarters can also take 6 dice and give it a whirl. No. Just too tough. So that Canadian hero is going to survive. So the Hauptsturmführer, or the Oberleutnant, is destroyed. And this German is disrupted. So that's not good, because now the Canadians can just go in and assault the headquarters. Alright, we're going to take this out. And we are going to roll for initiative. So the Canadians roll. They've got a 6. The Germans are going to roll. And they get an 8 plus 3 is 11. So they're going to make the Canadians go first. And of course, I'm going to go here. Oh, you know, I think I might have missed an opportunity fire there. I might have missed a defensive fire attack. But considering how bad these dice have been, we're going to say it wouldn't have mattered. All right. Were they adjacent? Yeah, so they're adjacent. So now we can actually do that. So because they're moving from adjacent to this guy to adjacent to there, he can shoot. And we're going to have him shoot this time at the Canadian soldier, because let's just be realistic here. They're not going to get 5 out of 6. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So it didn't even hurt the Canadian soldier in the op fire there. The defensive fire. All right. Sorry, it's usually you play with other people, right? So these Canadians are going to continue charging forward. This Canadian is going to move into the same hex. Is he? He's gonna move here. Get an angle on the guy anyway. Now the Germans get to go. And the Germans saying, screw it, we're going to fight there, you crazy Canuck. And this German is not disrupted, so he is going to move into the same zone as the headquarters and hopefully be able to do something to stop this Canadian Intrepid Hero. All right, so here we go. The Canadians shoot first. We'll start out here. So we've got 8 dice. Oh, got to use the red dice. Got to use the red dice. Here we go. All right, so 8 dice. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So another disrupted. Going on the German. And then the other Canadian has 8 dice. Just going to go after the... Let's go after the Hauptsturmführer. Oh, only 3 hits. Boy, that would have disrupted the thing, but here we go. 9 dice for the Canadian hero. Need 6 hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What a powerhouse. So that does it, folks. That's it. The Germans have to capitulate. They can get their shots in just to have some fun. Let's see if they can do any damage here. We've got from the Hauptsturmführer, though it's a tough word to say. We got 6 dice, and we got 3 hits, so that's not going to do anything to anybody. The headquarters, this is against the Canadian hero. Might as well try to go out with a bang. That really failed miserably. The guy who's disrupted right now, he also gets 8 dice actually. Let's see if he can do any good, but he's got to get 5s and 6s, so only 3 hits there. And then out here, we got 6 dice, or 8 dice, pardon me, going against that lone Canadian. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh! Well, if there's moral victories, there you go. So the Canadian out here gets destroyed. But for the Germans, that is all. There ain't no more. And the Canadians are victorious. Thanks to the Intrepid Hero. That boy right there. Good job. Well, thanks for watching, folks. Hope you enjoyed that. I know it's a little weird. It's a little different than my normal fare, but hopefully you did enjoy it. And I know that a lot of you do collect these. But again, if you're looking to sell, looking to buy, hey, leave me a note and we'll see if we can do some horse trading. Until then, hug your loved ones. Thank your friends for playing. Wish me luck this weekend. Going up to Prince George. Try try to win as Japan, which is a tall order in 36. I'm going to do my best, but may the dice be with you.